Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back. It's me, Francis Green, again with Forever Football, bringing you FA Cup reaction from today, part 2. Now, we had Leeds, we had Spurs, we had Man City, and we had Chelsea from the Premier League all in action. Today, I'm going to run quickly over those games because to get through them all will be too long. So, first of all, thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. Always really appreciate the support, but I'm going to get straight into it as I always do. We're going to go straight down to Crawley against Leeds. Always going to be a little bit tricky. Crawley, pitch, no fans, small stadium. Leeds a Premier League team, but as Leeds are a Premier League team and they've came up from the Championship, they've got players who have probably played in a lower level, so they're probably used to obviously the pitches. But let's be honest, Crawley completely dominated the game. Leeds never really looked comfortable in the game. They had a few opportunities, but it was Crawley who got the early opportunity with Nichols, who probably should have scored from 2-3 yards out, but the keeper's done a magnificent save. And first off, wasn't really much going on. Leeds tried to move the ball around. They couldn't because the pitch was obviously not very good for them, so it was killing them. And Crawley were just on the front foot trying to get in their faces. Leeds made a few changes, brought the young lads in. Always say, if there's ever a weekend to look for these players at academies, how big a step it is to become a professional footballer outside the Premier League, then you need to watch when these kids come in and they really struggle. I would say 80% of these kids in academies are probably never going to make it as professional footballers in Championship, League One, League Two. They're not going to make it. They're not good enough. They're just made up for the numbers, which is another video that we'll do later on in the future. But as going back to the game, so first half wasn't really much happening at all, and Crawley were very comfortable in the first half. Now the second half, you would have thought Leeds would obviously up the tempo, but you got a shock. It was on 50 minutes, 5 minutes into the second half, that Tottenham youth player who also had a car accident, his career was going off track, Cesarula managed to obviously wriggle his way from 3 Spurs players. He span, left 2, jinked past 1, managed to get a shot off straight across the goalkeeper, and he puts Crawley 1-0 up. Everyone's obviously buzzing off that. He now then starts the Bielsa, you can see, is absolutely raving at his players. You think the Leeds players, especially the senior players that were in the starting 11, would obviously rally and say, right, now we need to wake up. This is not going to be easy. You can't just turn up. These are hungry. They're lower league. They've got a point. They've got a point to prove. But nothing changed. They didn't really have a little go. And then it was not long after that on 50 minutes, 3 minutes later, just 3 minutes, Nadasan has obviously got in behind Leeds back 4. He's kind of like on the angle of the 18-yard box, just got an 18-yard box, thinking he can't really shoot from there. But he's tried his luck. He's tried a shot. Keeper looks like he's going to say, we planted his foot. This is what I mean about bubbles. The ball's bobbled up, hit kind of his body, gone into the back of the net. That don't happen in the Premier League because they don't hit a bubble. And if you don't shoot, you don't score. So he's absolutely buzzing. They're 2-0 up now, 53 minutes, they're 2-0 up. All of a sudden you're thinking, Leeds have got to pull something out of the bag. They just couldn't get into it. They just weren't good enough. The players that came in just weren't ready mentally and physically to play in the conditions that they were playing in. And then it got even worse for them because on 70 minutes, a little bit of a ricochet in the 6-yard box, goalkeeper saved it, it's come back out, and Tony Cliff has reacted first, smashed it into the back of net, and now Crawley are 3-0 up. Against Leeds, Leeds didn't look like scoring and were coming back. And that's exactly what happened. Bielsa will be absolutely fuming that they didn't cause Crawley any problems really whatsoever. But overall, for Crawley, they're into the next round, deservedly so. And Leeds are going to be doing something now because they're out of the Cup. So they've only got to concentrate on the Premier League, which is their main thing, to stay in the Premier League. So well done to Crawley. Great performance. And it's good to see the Cup is still alive. Next one I'm going to go on to was the Chelsea. Now, Chelsea at home against Morecambe. Everyone's expecting very, very comfortable. With Chelsea's squad, you're never really going to be able to field. He's never going to field a really, really poor team who can't cope with a Morecambe. And you had Werner, Havertz, Mason Mount, etc. And they're the ones that made the difference. It was Mason Mount on 14 minutes who got the first goal. That gets a breakthrough. So then now Morecambe are thinking they're obviously going to get their heads down. They kept chipping away. Nothing really happened. And then wasn't long after, just before half time, Hudson-Odoi's on 44 minutes. He's got one. And then Havertz has got one and Werner's got one. Havertz is towards the end of the game. Werner got a decent finish and it's 4-0. Game over, really. Very standard performance and win for Frank Lampard. They're into the next round. As for Morecambe, I think they played Chelsea before in the FA Cup. Another day out for them. Unfortunately, the fans of these lower league clubs can't enjoy the FA Cup, because for me, when I played in the FA Cup, it was great. The fans were great day out, and a good chance for you to test yourself against the best players, in the world. So, standard for Chelsea, 4-0 win. Frank will be happy because he's under a lot of pressure at the minute. If he lost this one, he's probably getting the sack the next day. So 4-0, they'll be comfortable with that one. Next, Man City. Never in doubt when it comes to Man City. Let's be honest, when it comes to these competitions. They do love cup competitions. They've really found their groove at the moment. Very, very slow start in the season. And, when you're going to play against City, when you see De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Jesus, Foden, Mahrez, Rodri on the team sheet, you're thinking, it's going to be a tough afternoon. And that's exactly what it was. Man City dominated as expected from the beginning of the game. Mahrez, De Bruyne, Foden, Bernardo Silva, all starting, all pulling strings left, right and centre. And it was Bernardo Silva that really got the game firing on 8 in 15 minutes, 2 great finishes. Before you know it, 2-0, Birmingham were thinking this could be a landslide. And then just on 33 minutes, 15 minutes later, Foden gets a decent one, left peg, puts it in the bottom corner. 3-0 at half time, you're thinking this could be 6, could be 7. As always, second half, the Premier League team, they're thinking about injuries, they're thinking about the season, they take the foot off the pedal, changes are made, and the second half was quite flat. Nothing really spectacular. Birmingham didn't really do much. They had a half a little go second half when they could, but Man City dominated the game. As expected, 3-0 into the next round. Job done. Don't think there's no injuries, so they'll be delighted with that performance, Pep and his boys. Finally, of the big hitters of today's game, we go on to Marine against Spurs. You may have watched the Marine game on TV. Such a pity that the fans are not there, that terrace houses are down the sides. You've got people, you can have people hanging out windows, on the fence, in the ground. Unfortunately, we couldn't have that this year. They miss out on a paycheck, which is great, massive for them with regards to fans. They'll get some TV money, etc. And stories like, I think the goalkeeper works at Sainsbury's, one of them's a bin man, one's a trainee plumber. To play against the Spurs team was just a magnificent experience for them. But going to the game, few changes when it comes to, obviously, there's going to be no Kane, there's going to be no Song, but the standout one was Dele Alli. Dele Alli was put in. Now, his attitude could have been stinking. He's probably trying to get a move. You've got the Poch, the PSG. There's going to be a lot of suitors for Dele Alli. Top player. Mourinho has made him a scapegoat and singled him out. So he could have been sulking. Marine, multi-millionaire footballer, thinking, do I really want to come here? Bobbly pitch. People are going to be rattling down my Achilles heels. But to be fair to him, if anyone's watching now, or everyone watching the game, and people looks about attitude, you couldn't question it. And he was involved in everything. He was involved in 2 of the goals for Vinicius, who managed to grab a hat-trick. He won't have 2 easier goals than his first 2 goals. Third goal was absolutely magnificent, well at awareness, dink over it. But yeah, Dele Alli was picking things up. He's trying to get things popping, trying to get things moving. He's done a 1-2, wrapped it around the corner, done a 1-2 to set Vinicius up for the first. So he was probably the standout player first half for Spurs. Lucas Moura with a great free kick, bent it. Keeper's got absolutely no chance whatsoever. Obviously, Vinicius obviously gets his other goal. So before half-time, it's 4-0. And you're feeling for the Marine players. They can't really do anything. They're not up for the tempo. The pitch is not obviously becoming an advantage for them, because sometimes it does when you play against the Premier League teams. So unfortunately, the pitch wasn't bringing the game to a level medium. So it was 4-0 at half-time. Again, the Premier League teams are going to manage the game. They're going to make sure they don't get injuries. They're going to make changes. And they did. And they kind of fizzled the game, very flat second half, managed the game really well. But a great, like a little twinkle in a little spark in the second half was teenager 16-year-old Divine coming on, and he managed to grab his goal. He jinked into 2 players, and I think he slotted it between someone's legs, beat the keeper at the near post. So for a 16-year-old to score his first goal, he doesn't care where he is. He scores his first goal for Spurs, and that's absolutely delightful. And that game ended 5-0 to Spurs. So today, only Leeds that suffered that embarrassment of going out to a lower league club. The other clubs dealt with it very professionally. Leeds will be fuming. What do you think? Make sure you like your comments if you're watching this after the live stream. Really do appreciate it. Again, make sure you try and subscribe, like, and comment. Check out my other videos in relation to the competitions. Check out the other videos in the content what we're bringing to you. Enjoy your evening. Thank you for wrapping up with the FA Cup for this round. And I will see you soon. You take care.